Hey, what's going on, everyone? I apologize for being late. I apologize for rearranging the time here, but I'm in Western New York. I'm at home in Buffalo, and this is my last day. Unfortunately, I have to go back, and I have other travel plans. But you just have to coordinate the time with family, the time that you have left with family. So, but I had to squeeze you guys in because some of you guys have become like family as well, particularly you, cynical optimist, who was always the first one in. So salute to you and salute to Tony. Thank you for being here. All right, guys and gals, I'm not going to be on long. As I described, you have to, as the clock winds down on vacation time, you have to make sure you leave time for your family. So let me play the intro, and then we're going to talk about the 4 agreements. And I'm going to thank you guys for all of the support that you've given me on this channel this year. And I'll say a few words about what to expect for next year. So salute to you guys. Please smash that like button, and thank you to those of you who liked the stream before it started, even though the time flip-flopped around quite a bit. So, where did this topic come from? So I'm going to admit that because of where I come from, see, in this world, we're all living in different worlds, and not everybody is privy to the same information.
That we will rush to finish things that are important so we can do things that are not. And I believe it's an immaturity there. People just don't understand that, life isn't about having fun all the time. You have to have fun sometimes. I agree. But as an adult, there's time where you have to just say, okay, listen, I got to get down to work right now. And I don't think enough of us value that time or really understand the fruits of that labor. Somehow we think things are just going to be without that kind of effort. And culturally, there's a deficiency there. That's why I always say that there's no political solution for cultural deficiencies.
So, where did this topic come from? So I'm going to admit that because of where I come from, see, in this world, we're all living in different worlds, and not everybody is privy to the same information. In this world, we're all living in different worlds, and not everybody is privy to the same information. How are you guys doing out there? Have you guys had a good holiday season thus far? Have you had a good holiday season thus far with family and friends and wherever you are? This year, just like last year, the first part of it for me has been here in upstate New York. And the second part is going to be, God willing, as my father says, because you never know, but the second part will be out west. So I'm going from extreme cold. That's why I'm wearing the Scully, to 70s and 80s. It's the 70s and 80s in Arizona this time of year. So let me see some of your comments here. Let's see. So salute to Cynical Optimist, Tony, Gigami. Thank you so much for the generous $5 super chat. Nothing too saucy tonight. Tony says, looking forward to this one. I read the 4 agreements. It's a good book. Yes. AB Media says, salute. And Andre, looks like me and you were within 6 degrees of one another. You were in Niagara Falls, Ontario. I was down here in Buffalo. So, and I have my passport with me. So, man, if you just let me know you were going to be in the vicinity, I could have crossed the border to toss one back with you. So salute to you all. All right. So I like to do a final live stream for the year to kind of close things out. So this will be, oh, look who's here. It's my Michigan football co-host. It's Marmar. Guys, meet Marmar. If you are subbed to my Michigan football channel, that's pretty much what it is now, he's become my my road dog over there. Okay, so shout out to Marmar in Northern Ohio. But I like to finish this off with the end of the year stream, just to kind of put a nice bow tie on it. It's been a busy year for my good government job. We had to go back into the office full time, which presented a set of challenges because number one, you have to set everything up before you leave, before you go, because a lot of these streams I do after work. So that means I have to set them up before I go to work. So there's a lot of pre-thinking and a lot of pre-planning that goes into it now. And then after work, you're tired, so and then it becomes a balance thing because you have to maintain your physical health. So you have to find ways to get exercise, which was a challenge during football season. Now football season is over, so I think I'll be able to get to the gym a little bit more on Saturdays. But long story short, it's been a challenge keeping everything balanced and everything going, selling books, creating content. But it's been a successful year here. I've had several interviews. Dr. Tiasan Johnson came twice. Salute to Dr. Tiasan Johnson. I got Jeff St. James. Salute to Jeff. And it seems, at least here on this channel, Dr. Tiasan Johnson is more popular than Jeff St. James because my discussion with Dr. T surpassed my discussion with Jeff St. James in terms of viewership and in terms of likes. So go figure. So salute to them. Dr. Ronald Neal came here and talked about his book. So I do plan, and Dr. L came and hung out with me for an evening, and I hope to have that happen again in 2026. But I also hope to, those are all men. So I hope to have Anita Stoudemire from the Better Love movement. She runs with Dr. L and Jeff. She has her own book called Choose Well. So I'm almost done reading this. And so Anita, we have tentative plans for January. That's going to be a fun discussion because I rarely have women come up on the panel as the featured guest. So look for that. That's going to be a fun one. That's going to be a fun one. I have my copy of The Man Not by Dr. Tommy J. Curry. I was hoping to get him for Black History Month, but this is a thick book, okay? And it's very dense. So I don't know. I'm going to try to get through as much of this as I can over the holiday season, but I don't know if I'll be done with enough time to get Dr. Tommy J. Curry for Black History Month. So we'll see. So those are things that are in the works. So tonight's stream, putting a cap on 2025, and you guys keep letting me know what you guys think there in the chat. This is what they call me over on the sports channel. Everyone, it's the good doctor, but he called me the great doctor here. So putting a cap on 2025. So we're going to end with some self-help and some self-improvement. Self-improvement, that was a popular word in these YouTube streets, these manosphere streets. Self-improvement, usually we think about it in terms of getting your physique in order, being your best physical self. You think about your fashion, being the best version of yourself. Another context is getting your money up. Self-improvement. But another context is getting your mind right. Getting your mind right. Getting your mind functioning in the most healthy way. Getting your mind right so that you can deal with family and deal with relationships and personal relationships with women. Okay. Dealing with family, dealing with workplace politics. Okay. Coping with life. Okay. Dealing with parents, dealing with siblings, dealing with crazy aunts and uncles. Okay. Part of self-improvement is getting your mind right. A lot of there are a lot of men's channels here, quote unquote red pill spaces, talking about relationship dynamics and gender dynamics. Okay. And it's one thing to know what's happening, how these things work and how these things are structured, but you also need to understand how to protect your mind and how to build your mind and strengthen your mind so that you can deal with some of these things that you deal with when you get into platonic relationships. Okay. And so I'm going to use that as a jumping off point to talk about Don Miguel Ruiz's The Four Agreements. How many of you guys, Tony knows about this book, but how many of you guys have heard of this book, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz? And there's also a book called The Fifth Agreement, which I haven't read yet. You guys let me know what you think there in the chat. Are you familiar with this? Are any of you guys into self-help, improving your mind, strengthening your mind, going to see therapists, going to see counselors? Have any of you guys done that in your lifetime? But are any of you guys into mental health and self-improvement in that regard? I did post before I get into the book, in terms of balance and having a balanced life, I did steal this diagram from Robert Kiyosaki, the author of the Rich Dad Poor Dad series. And I did share this on my community tab about it a couple of years ago. And someone thanked me for sharing this. I can't remember who it was, but these are all the spheres. These are the four spheres of your life. And you want to make sure you're balanced. You have your mental health there, your mental health there at the top. You have your physical health. You have your spiritual health there at the bottom, and you have your emotional health. So you want to make sure all of these are balanced. And in that particular interview where I saw Robert Kiyosaki talk about this, he kept emphasizing that we have no control over the exterior. The only thing we have control over is in here. We have no control over the exterior. We have no control over what somebody says about us. We have no control over what someone says to us. We have no control over the accusations someone hurls at us. We have no control over the disparaging remarks someone may make about us. We can only control the interior. Much easier said than done, but it's a lesson that I've had to learn over and over and over again. And it's something that I've been working on, and I'm still working on. I think I've gotten better at it, but it's something that I've constantly had to work on over my lifetime. And it's probably something I'll be working on up until I breathe my last breath. So salute to Ray Alexander. Thank you for being here, sir. The four agreements. So I created a short. I haven't made many shorts lately here, but when YouTube first offered us the shorts, I started making shorts. And one of the shorts I made was on Don Miguel Ruiz's The Four Agreements. And surprisingly, when you're a YouTube content creator, you have a studio, you have a backstage, and you can look and you can see the three videos that people are watching the most within the last 48 hours. You can see that. So I've had Dr. T.S. Johnson here. I've had Dr. Ronald Neal here. I've had Jeff St. James. I've had Aaron Clary. I've had a lot of people here. In the early days, I had BGS here. I'll bring him back one day. Well, I'll ask him to come back one day. And that short, my one little one minute short on the 4 agreements, it keeps popping back up into what people have been watching in the last 48 hours. So people are still coming to the channel and watching that short. Okay. And I went back and I took a look at it today, and that short is up to 3,000 views. Okay. So that's resonating with somebody. And I think it has something to do with the topic matter. But I also think it has to do with the popularity of this book. Okay. The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. So I asked myself today, I asked myself earlier, when did I make that video? What was the date? So I looked back and I went down the line and I said, oh, that video was made, that short was made in November of 2022. November of 2022. All right. And so you may ask, well, Dr. Dunbar, what happened in November of 2022? I can smile about it now, but that was one of the roughest holiday seasons that I had ever experienced. I don't know what it is about the holiday season. I mean, for my lifetime, most of my holiday seasons have been good, but when it comes to relationships, okay, heterosexual relationships involving men and women, the holiday season can be one of the most chaotic times ever of the year. Whether it's determining which family to spend time with if you're married or if you've been together that long, whether it's getting the proper gifts for each other, or whether it involves getting into an argument over something stupid, or whether it involves getting into a major disagreement over a misunderstanding. Okay. And in November 2022, it was the latter. Okay. So I'm going to share some things here. I'm going to be discreet. I'm going to try to stay general. But this warrants some background. So in November 2022, I was in my last relationship. I don't know if she's watching this at this point. It doesn't matter. I don't care. Okay. But I was in my last relationship. And I think in that relationship, I learned, me and Anita, we're going to talk about some of this when she comes, but I learned a lot about frame. I learned a lot about the importance of being in alignment. Okay. If any of you watch Immortal Minds, he talks about being in alignment with whoever it is you're in a relationship with, having cooperation, but also being in alignment. And I think Ron Wills talks about that quite a bit as well in his men's content. So that was a very, when you get together with somebody, okay, the relationship is going to take the shape of one of the two. Okay. And if one person's life is very, very demanding, if they have a lot of bells and whistles going constantly, okay, and if your life is pretty simple, chances are you're going to get absorbed into that person's life. Okay. And their chaos is going to become your chaos. And a lot of your time is going to get consumed into their many bells and whistles. Okay. So that relationship got to a point where, and it was fun at first. It was fun at first. And it was, when you're in that infatuation phase, you pretty much, everything is fun. Everything is good. But there came a point where I realized, you know what? I'm not getting as much of my stuff done. I'm not getting all my stuff done. I'm a blogger. I'm working on this book. I make YouTube content. That became a point of contention as well. Some of the things I was talking about there, being a YouTube content creator and having a relationship, that can get very, very complicated. That's why I asked Jeff, and that's why I asked, I think, Dr. T about their spouses. Anyway, so I got to a point where I realized that I needed personal time. Okay. You can be with someone and you can be on top of each other all the time. And if you don't have your own life, that's one thing. But if you have projects, if you have your own LLC, if you have your own business, sometimes you just need your own mental time. You need your own headspace to think, to plan, to fill your cup up, right? To go over bills, to think about the direction of your business. You need personal time. That can cause problems in a relationship, even though many self-help programs, even though many psychologists and counselors say it's okay to have personal time, your partner could take that, your significant other, your plus one, could take that the wrong way. Okay. It could sound like an insult. You need time away from me. Why do you need time away from me? Well, I need time away from you too. So it can become that one little thing there, needing some personal time for yourself, can become very, very complicated. And so me and this plus one, Andre, this is something I'm going to ask Anita about because she's a therapist. I didn't get to ask Jeff, but I'm going to ask her about codependency. I'm going to ask her about that. So at this particular time, me and this plus one, we'd come back from a foreign trip. Okay. And I needed some rest. And it just so happened that something physical happened on her end. And it was the weekend before Thanksgiving 2022. Okay. And so the plan was to go with her to see her family, okay, for that Thanksgiving. Okay. But I knew that, okay, well, this weekend before Thanksgiving, I'm taking it for myself. I need some personal time. I want to go see a movie. I forget which movie that was. I'm going to relax. I'm going to go to the cigar lounge. I'm just going to chill. So she had something physical going on. Okay. And former plus one, if you're watching this and you don't like me talking about this, well, the Jordan meme when Jordan lost to the guy playing pitching pennies. Okay. And so what happened was my former plus one wanted me, while I needed this personal time, the expectation was that I would go back to her particular domicile and be with her for that weekend. Okay. And since I'm here in Buffalo, one of the things that my mother said to me throughout the years is that relationships are work. Relationships take effort. Okay. Some would argue that point down. Some would say they shouldn't be. They don't have to be, but they end up being. And in some instances, that involves compromising what you need for what the other person needs. Okay. In some instances, it's the other person verbalizing what they need. Okay. And letting you know, okay, well, I need you to do this right now. Okay. And then in that particular instance, I chose myself. And so the big question was, and I think we ended up asking ourselves afterward, was if she had asked me, if she had used her feminine powers to say, honey, I need you to come with me this weekend. I need you to be with me for the next 2 nights. If she had asked, I tend to think that I would have sacrificed my own needs and gone. Okay. But we'll never know, because that question, that use of her femininity was never there. It was never used. So like the hundreds of other times I'd seen her go, I won't describe the circumstances. She left and I knew she was coming back early in the week. I thought we were fine. No. So long story short, it blew up into this whole thing. I got uninvited from Thanksgiving. Okay. The blessing is that I was healthy. I had a functioning car and I could come back here to be with my family. Okay. But it was embarrassing because I told my family I'm going with her. And then when I, at the last minute, said, well, I'm coming home, now you have to answer to your family and say what happened. Okay. And my family is the kind of family to ask, well, how's so-and-so? How's so-and-so? If you don't talk about them, well, you haven't talked about her. How is she doing? You haven't spoken to her. So, and that was humiliating, okay, to be uninvited to something, okay, because I got a nice talking to as I was being uninvited. So I got chastised as I got uninvited. I got guilted, okay, as I got uninvited. And that holiday, it was left very raggedy. Okay. So I came here. There was no resolution. Okay. I got a talking to, and I'm gonna get to the book shortly. And I got a talking to. All right. It was left very the edges were left very jagged. They were left very broken. I wasn't really sure where we stood. So Thanksgiving was like that. And then December was like that. Okay. And then Christmas was like that. Okay. And so I'm saying this to say, when I made that short, on the 4 agreements, that's what was going on in my life. It was utter chaos. And I thought it was something that, if handled differently, didn't have to be. Okay. And I had a similar Thanksgiving around 2010. Okay. That was a breakup right before Thanksgiving. But my point is, I think in making that short on this book, I was trying to make sense of the situation for myself. I was trying to cope with it and deal with it and persevered through that chaos, because it was pure chaos. Okay. So with that, let's go over the 4 agreements. Okay. It's a short book. Okay. I've read this 2 to 3 times. Everybody's gone through something in life at some point. But if you want to help build the tools to deal with life's chaotic situations, I strongly suggest you put this book in your library or get the audio book or whatever. This is not a substitute or a replacement for the Bible. I do read a proverb every single morning, but these are 4 really good points to think about during your day as you're interacting with family, your significant other, and people at the workplace. So let's first Let's look at some of the comments underneath that short. T Riddler, no food fighting in my chat. And I won't make this go much longer. I don't want this to go much longer because T Riddler, we're just doing some this is the end of the year stream. We're doing some self-help tonight. Okay, let's go to my studio. Yeah, Andre, I think my mother is a very spiritual woman, so she prays for all of us every day. We all need prayer in this world. There's a lot of craziness going on. I'm just waiting for this to load up. Okay, well, while that loads up, all right, it's loaded up. November 2022, April 2023. There it is. 3,674 views, 144 likes. Okay, now for a bigger channel, those numbers are pretty puny, but for a smaller channel like this, that means something. All right, we're just gonna look at the comments here. There are only a couple, but I think they're very profound and insightful. If anyone wants to make a donation to the channel, you can super chat something like Giagami did. And then my other information is there in the handles. Okay, so we're just going to take a quick look at this. Daryl Fralin 2751 says, great book, saved my marriage. I even shared it with one of my students. So this gentleman said it saved his marriage. Davidson K says, I can't tell you how many times I have read that book. I will reread it again and again. Yeah, you have to some books you have to read more than once to get everything. Okay. And then be compassionate. This is not our buddy Compassionate and Callous, but this person says that book is my true Bible. Okay. So, what about this book is so valuable and what is so moving to everybody? So let's take a quick look. And you guys keep letting me know what you think there in the chat. So the 4 agreements. Okay, the first agreement, be impeccable with your word. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself or gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. Okay, so that he makes the analogy in this book that the spoken word is like magic. So you have the ability to speak black magic on people, and you have the ability to speak life onto people. Okay, and we do talk about, depending upon what it is, we do talk about some pretty contentious things here in the YouTube streets. Shout out to BGS Idmore. We throw bricks here. But we do throw bricks here. But in general, are those bricks, are they to help, or are they just to hurt people? Are they to educate, or are they just to denigrate? Are they for correction, or are they for corrosion? So I've made an effort to, in general, I'm an upbeat kind of guy. I'm an upbeat person. but particularly with my public persona, I try not to say things that will get me in trouble, or say things that I'll have to answer for. That when you get into relationships, a lot of plus ones will go digging through your social media and your YouTube content, and you might get a talking to about what's in your YouTube content. At that point, you might have to decide, okay, well, I'm not dating this person anymore, or was I wrong for saying that? And many of you guys know that I did switch gears a little bit, so I haven't done any of the panels after a certain point. That plus one did have something to do with that. But what I will say is that just because she didn't like what was discussed on the panels, that doesn't mean that the panels were invalid, or the points being made. That doesn't mean the points were invalid. Okay. And Dr. Tia-san Johnson did say that the manosphere itself, I'm considered adjacent. Some of the conversations can be corrosive. Some of the conversations can be fiery. Okay. But I also think what I understand now, and me and Toya, shout out to Toya, we talked about this. Not everything needs to be presented to the public. And when you have a forward-facing channel, well, my content is now forward-facing, not everything needs to be shared with the general public. And if it is, sometimes you need certain people to carry the message. Okay. So I'm just saying, I'm conscious of my image, and I'm conscious of what I say here publicly as well. Now, the other thing, be impeccable with your word. The other point he makes here is you have to be impeccable with the words you use towards yourself. What conversations are you having with yourself? Okay. And some of the black magic that people are unleashing on you, the manipulation, okay, the sign language, are you incorporating those words and using them against yourself? So you have to be careful about the words you say to other people, and you have to be careful about the words that people are saying to you. Are they trying to manipulate you? Are they trying to shame you? Are they trying to insult you? Are they trying to guilt you? Okay. Is there a need to be right? Okay. Are they saying things to cover up their own inadequacies? Are they saying things to cover up their own shortcomings? Are they pushing those things off on you? So you have to be careful with the word that you say to others, and you have to be careful about the words that people say to you and what you actually own and internalize. So that's number one. Be impeccable with your word. Okay, you guys keep letting me know what you think. Well, Andre, being adjacent means sometimes you can dip your toe down in and get a little muddy with the rest of the guys, but you have to eventually pull yourself out and shower off. So you can still have some fun. All right. Don't take things personally. Okay, this is a huge one for me. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. Oh, let me read that again. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. Okay. So this book, it actually opens, before he gets into the 4 agreements, he gets into the concept of all of us living in our own dream. Okay. Tony, please back me up on this. He makes the argument that we're all on this world, we're all living in our own dream. We're all perceiving and witnessing the world in our own particular way. Okay, so we can look at the same thing and see different things, and depending upon our personal beliefs and values, we can feel different ways about different things. Let's talk about Kevin. Kevin Samuels is one. A lot of ladies thought he was Satan. A lot of men didn't like him. Okay, other people were looking and saying, okay, well, I see what he's saying, I see what he's doing, and I think he's right. Okay, a lot of ladies came out and said he was right. Okay, but if you were averse to the things that he was saying, okay, that's your point of view. If you were that much against what he was saying, same thing with our current president, the same thing with past presidents. If you were that convicted and that bitter about what he was saying, okay, then oftentimes that's a function of your perception of the world. Okay. And oftentimes people project their thoughts, they project their feelings and their values and their views. They tend to project them on other people. But that's them projecting. That's not you. Okay. Sometimes you react to the things that people say and the things that people do. Okay. How could they say that at this time? How could they make that judgment without knowing me? How could they do that? Okay. In some instances, that's your reaction to it. Okay. But it's also their obliviousness. I just froze there. But in other instances, it's their obliviousness to what they just said. Either way, you have to figure out how not to take it personally. It might have been messed up what they just said, what that relative said at the family gathering, the person who never met you, okay, and they're coming out saying all of these kinds of things. It might have been your uncle that you've known for years, and he's coming at you saying these things. Could be your mother, could be your plus one, could be your brother. But you have to figure out how not to take things personally. In many instances, what they said or what they did is because of them and not me. It's their lack of emotional intelligence. It's their lack of awareness. Okay. It's their lack of understanding and discernment that caused this. So you have to figure out how not to take things personally. In business, I remember, I don't think Snowman will mind me telling this story. I'll tell this story. The first time me and Snowman were going to collab, and I didn't know a lot about Snowman at that point. We agreed if we agreed to do a stream on the GOAT, who was the GOAT in basketball. And we set a time and we set a date. I remember that particular night. I was here in my StreamYard studio, waiting for Snowman to show up. And he never showed up. And I was like, this dude, we set this time, we agreed to this time to do this. And it wasn't until later. And then the other thing is, he told me when he texted me, he said, "Oh, I fell asleep." It's like, dude, you fell asleep? we had a show to do. And then it wasn't until later someone who both knew us, said, okay, he has a lot happening on his end. And then when I got to know Snowman a little bit more, I realized, okay, yeah, Snowman has a number of challenges, in his life. So, I need not be so judgmental, and I need not take that personally. Okay. Andre says, Andre, I have it. His books are very dense. I've read parts of it. But I do have that. Yeah. And it was a relative who, a relative said something And I said, okay, I need to strengthen my mental muscles here because that was messed up. They shouldn't have said that when they said that. But I do have that book, The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. And I like his videos and his content as well, his writings and his videos. So I watch Robert Greene. Okay, number 3. Salute to the Passport OG. Hey man, I wasn't able to there just wasn't time. We ran out of time for 2025, but we're gonna link up again in 2026. As per usual, you've been on fire. It's just this guy is like Johnny Storm. He is always on fire. All right, number 3. Don't make assumptions. Okay, find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Okay, so the story I just told about Thanksgiving 2022, okay, that whole disaster could have been averted with a simple question or a simple request. Okay, but particularly in male-female relationships, assumptions are made without asking for what you want, or without asking what the other person was thinking or whatever. And a lot of car crashes and pileups are caused because assumptions are made. But let me go back. Don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want, to communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. Okay, so even if you do this with this one agreement, even if you do this, there's no guarantee that everybody else will, which is why you have to not take things personally. Okay. Andre says, where I am now in life is trying to learn more about people. I was already good at it, but I want to know how to navigate it better. Okay. Most Fet, thank you for being here. He says, hey Doc, Happy New Year, 2026, best of success in your new endeavors. Yeah, we're gonna keep making content. I'm gonna keep selling books. We're gonna stay the course. 1,000 points of light. It's like George H.W. Bush on SNL. Stay the course. 1,000 points of light. Operation Desert Storm. All right, the last one. And guys, this is where it comes from. Always try to do your best. If you go back and watch my content, I wasn't saying this before November 2022, but it touched me so much based upon what I was going through that I started adding this to my salutation at the end of my YouTube content. This is where it came from. Always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick. Under any circumstance, simply do your best and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. Okay. I think Andre says, bring Dr. T back. Andre, if I could have Dr. T here every week, I would do it. But you have to. He's a busy man. I'm a busy man. So he's on the list for 2026. Hey, do you guys know who else is on my wish list for 2026? Funky Academic. So I want to host him. Like that guy, him shaking his head like this, and him making his points and his jokes. I would have a lot of fun talking to that guy. Funky Academic and Maggie. See, there's Maggie, the substitute teacher. I'd like to talk to her too. I'm not big enough yet, but also Maggie, the BGS is Maggie. You guys know that Maggie. Yeah. I have my entertainment channel. I've been so busy. I haven't had time to do a lot of that over there. but I haven't even had the chance to watch Artisan. So, but anyway, back to this. I'm almost done. So those are the 4 agreements, everyone. Let's review them again. And yeah, be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. So this is a great book. It's a short read, but it's good. It's great food for thought for navigating the world, in dealing with the people that you meet, in dealing with the adversities that you will encounter, because we're all going to encounter them. And this is an integral part of my library. And when I'm not here doing these live streams, guys, I'm reading oftentimes stuff like this, self-improvement stuff, self-help writings, and I'm always trying to figure out how to better navigate the world. One other powerful thing that he says in here, and he gives the history of the Toltecs and those ancient Central American civilizations, but he talks about the principle of domestication, and that we've all become domesticated in some way. We've all been socialized. The Prussian education system, we've all been socialized to conform and fit into what other people want us to do, and what other people want us to be, and who other people want us to be, and who other people think we should become. So that's something in heterosexual relationships. I think this is where personal alignment and cooperation, I think that's where this comes into it. At work, when dealing with family, I think that's an important question to ask yourself as well. Am I being guilted and shamed into being what someone else thinks that I should? Is this content? Am I changing my content based upon what someone else thinks it shouldn't be, or because it's offending someone else? Am I being domesticated? You guys out there, have you been domesticated? Okay, and to what degree? Andre says, post the link. Andre, post the link to what? Post a link to what? Andre says, a dude from Germany I met in real life told me about the history of kindergarten and the meaning of the word, and I told BGS about it. The link to the 4 agreements, Andre? Yeah, I could find it for you. I mean, you could look this up on Google. This is on Amazon. I think I ordered mine on Amazon. You can go get it from, I think in Canada, you guys have Chapters and not Barnes and Noble. But you can get this anywhere. Andre, this is the official website. I'll show it first. This is the official website. But the link is right here. Okay. And lastly, I'm going to hop off momentarily, guys. I think my mother's home. In the book he talks about needless suffering. Let's go back to agreement number 3. Okay. Don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. Yeah. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. Okay. And I thought I read somewhere alleviating needless suffering. Oh, it's number 2. It's number 2. Don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. So that's what a lot of this book is about, that alleviating needless suffering. So that right there, what he just talked about, it just left my mind that quickly. I have to post it again. The opinions and actions of others. The opinions and actions of others. Okay, when you are a slave, or when you are beholden and reactive to the actions and the opinions of others, you're going to suffer in life. Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know. So you have to get to a point where you're not enslaved or beholden to the actions and opinions of others. Okay. When you're a YouTuber, people are commenting on your stuff. People are going to comment, but I'm talking about significant others and family members, and even at the job, when you're trying to prove yourself and you're trying to maintain a good standing in your organization, you have to somehow try to do your best, but also disconnect from the opinions and the actions of others. Tony says, and I'm going to wrap up, asking questions can bring clarity to communication. That's right. And yeah, that's right. And people don't often do that. They assume without following up and seeing what you were thinking and seeing what you were feeling. They assume, and things are off to the races, and then you have these dramas to these fires to put out. It's part of the human condition. All right, everybody, that's about an hour. So let me see. Let me check. Thank you for the super chats. Let's see. Let me check here just to make sure, because things go to, because I have 2, a personal and a business Cash App, so I don't see anything there. I don't see anything from this one, and that is okay. I'm just checking. But I think that's it. Do you guys have any other comments on this? So you guys won't see me here again for another, at least another 2 weeks. The first stream back might be my discussion with Anita from the Better Love Movement. So look out for that. That might be the first one back, but I will be on vacation next week. And so and then the week after that, it's back in the office. So you guys won't see me probably for another week and a half or another 2 weeks. Andre says, one of the most important things I learned from books is that you don't know anything fully if you can't explain it to a child. Interesting. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Andre. And then the Passport OG says, enjoy your New Year's, Doc. Passport OG, you too as well, sir. And I'll be on vacation, but I'll still be looking for your masterpieces. Tony says, Happy New Year's to everyone. Yeah, everyone be safe. Be safe out there. That it's a simple celebration. It's over. It's at midnight and it's over by the time the sun comes up. But people drink on New Year's Eve and people drive on New Year's Eve, and any number of things can happen to you if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. But yeah, everybody, thank you for your support throughout the year. And thank you to everyone who supported my book. I won't give the whole spiel, but $22 for the paperback and $25 for the hardcover. That's what I'm charging. That's what I'm charging my YouTube subs. Signed copies. Those are signed copies. You could use one of those methods in the ticker. Make sure you send me your mailing information. The book is also available on Amazon in the ebook, hardcover, and paperback editions. And it involves many of the same principles we talk about in the Manosphere. So AB Media says, Happy New Year, Doc. Yep. Thank you, AB Media. Salute to you. Everybody, be safe out there tomorrow night. As always, remember, Passport OG. I tried to work this out. Let me think about this. I tried to work this out with somebody who lived in the Netherlands, and it might be cheaper for both of us if you just order off of Amazon. And then when I come over to Japan for some sushi, I can sign up for you there. But let me look into how much it would cost to ship a copy to Japan, and we'll talk offline. So, all right, everyone. Thank you again. Salute. As always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Always try to do your best. Take care, and I will talk to you in 2026. As my father says, God willing. Bye-bye.